Hello viewers, in previous videos we learned how to install request module and in today's video we will learn how to utilize request module in Python. So let's start with the tutorial. First we will know how to fetch data. We'll take example of a weather app which will fetch real-time weather data from API. So the Python script would be something like request.get for fetching the data. The API is accessed through URL like https wttr.in and we will mention city where city is replaced with the location you want the weather for. You can specify a custom format by adding format to the URL and you can give in the format condition C and with the temperature T and for wind W parameter. This will give you simple weather information without needing any API key. So the output is something like that if you want to know the weather about any city. So it may be a clear sky 12 degrees Celsius and wind 3 meter per second. So you can customize it as per your requirement. Now we will move toward the code of this. We will create a file fetch.py and first of all we will import the requests so that we can use the request module. With that we create a function get weather which will input the city name. We will create a variable URL with the URL as mentioned in the previous slide and we'll get the response. If the response code is 200 then we will return the text of the response and otherwise it will give the error. No example usage, we give the city as London and we input it to the method get weather and we will see that we'll print that in the console. For formatting purposes, I will give a bit print static and above that so can we can visualize it in the console easily. Now we will run the code and you can see that weather in London is condition is mist and temperature is 3 degrees Celsius and wind is 7 km per hour and you can see it showing the direction of the wind also. So in this way you can fetch the data through request module from any API or any online source, any web source from that. Now in next step we will know how to post data. So we will create a resource where we'll create a new post with some title, body and user ID and we'll use the website for mock purposes to post our parameter to that website and then we will see the response. So you can see that request.post method would be used with URL and with some JSON object. So our JSON object is new post and then we print ID of that response retrieved from after posting and we'll show also the whole object as r.json. So moving toward the code part, we create post.py file. Inside that we first of all we will import the request module. Then we create the new post JSON object with the title as my first post body. This is the body of the post and some user ID. And now we'll post it to request of module. So request.post will give the URL and with the new post JSON object. Now we will print it with its ID and as mentioned in the slides and we'll also print the whole object. Now we run the code and you can see that it created post ID at 101. Its dynamic ID it was generated by that website, and in the response part it gave that the similar JSON object uh, which we posted through request.post method. So in this way you can utilize the request module to post some data to any web API. Now in our next part, we'll learn how to update the data already posted to any web API. So for that purpose, we'll use request.put function and we similarly send some JSON object with the same title like ID, title, body and user ID. Over here, you can see initially we didn't put the ID, but in the put we will have to mention some specific ID so that only that object should be updated. So we're moving toward the code. Let's create a file put.py and in the same, first of all import the request module. Then we create the updated post JSON object, the additional ID tag to know which post should be updated. And then we call the request.put function in the same way and we'll print the JSON object in the console. So we run the code. As you can see that the post has been updated. Now the body of the post is updated content body. Previously it was the first post body, but now it has been changed. So viewers, in the last part we will learn how to delete the data from any online API. So for that we will use the request objects delete function and we will pass the URL and that URL will carry the ID of the post. So coming toward the code. So first of all we will create a file delete.py and over here we will call request module. After this we will call request.delete method with endpoint of the API to delete any post. Over here we have mentioned that the post of ID 1 should be deleted and if the result status code is 200 it should be shown successfully. Otherwise if it is forbidden it will fail to delete. We run the code and you can see in the console that it has returned the 200 code which means the object post have been deleted. So viewers, in this video we'll learn how to utilize the request module to fetch the data from any online API or any source. We'll learn how to post our data. We'll learn how to update it and then at the end we'll learn how to delete the data from request module. In the next video, you will learn top 10 utilizations of request module. Thank you for watching.